Being a producer means no days off. And there were 2 days this week that I didn't get stuff done, so I gotta make up time for it. Okay, I gotta make up time because if you want success, man, it's about production. It's about being a producer. Okay, we live on an economic planet, and for you to be able to live the life you want with an abundance of health, wealth, women, and freedom, you need to get paid. Okay, unless you get financially free, you're gonna be hamstrung in every area of your life. Okay, that's a fact. It's not a pretty fact, but it's a fact. Okay, it's not like capitalism is the greatest system of all time, but it's better than the other two options that we had in the last century, communism and fascism. Okay, but even more importantly than that is we don't have control over the system. Okay, we work within the system. We don't have control over the money situation, how money's created and central banking and all that. So we have to work within that, and it is an economic planet. That's the reality. So you need to get paid if you want to be able to live a life of comfort and happiness. Okay, to get and keep wealth, you only need to understand one basic principle: produce more than you consume. That's it. Produce more than you consume, and the wider the gap between your production and your consumption, the better lifestyle you're going to be able to generate. Okay, and the faster you're going to be able to get and keep wealth, especially when you're reinvesting the profits from your production back into your money machine, also known as a business, because that's what a business is. It's a money machine. My business is the only thing in life that gives me money, and it gives me the ability to have leisure time. Everything and everyone else wants my time or my money. The business is what gives. That's why I'm here 9 o'clock on a Friday night doing videos and doing articles, because this is what gives, right? This is what gives. So this has to be number one. And that means production. Okay. You can't get rich and think like a consumer. It's just not possible. Thinking like a consumer is, those guys who are leaving those angry, poorly written comments on the Google App Store. You can go to the Google App Store right now and see millions of angry comments in all caps, horrible grammar, because the latest version of Google Maps, which is literally beaming directions to you from anywhere in the world, that not only can you see where you're going, but the Google Maps will actually tell you where to go and where to turn, which is a free app. And they're complaining that it doesn't work 100% perfectly on their new Samsung Galaxy S, and they're yelling in all caps about it. Okay, this is the ultimate in consumer mentality. And there are millions of these angry comments on the App Store. I guarantee that one, none of those people are producers, and number two, none of those people are successful and probably not going to be successful. Okay, because that kind of a mentality is so far away from what you need to become to actually be successful. A producer doesn't leave angry comments on the App Store screaming in all caps in the general direction of who knows who they're even talking to. It's not like the Google developers are just sitting there reading every single comment on Google Maps. Okay. A producer knows that reaching out to a business through their customer service department or hiring someone to solve the problem is how you get things done. All right. Being a producer is about understanding the game. It's also about patience and being able to delay gratification. Okay. Instant gratification is for consumers. All right. The hot sale, the emotional appeal, the time sensitive giveaway, all that garbage you see on those sales pages, all of that's for consumers and sold to them by producers. Okay. Waiting all night in the freezing cold for the new pair of Air Jordans is consumer behavior. I'll never forget, right before I left Canada, it was 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning, or 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning. I was, of course, going to the gym. I was up by 6, was going to spend the rest of the day doing work, and I noticed this lineup of young men with energy and potential and the ability to produce. And I asked them what's going on, and they said they were waiting for the new Jordans, and they'd been up all night in the freezing Canadian winter, camped out, waiting for a pair of sneakers. Okay? That mentality is absolute insanity. Okay, that's absolute madness. You, I mean, just imagine if they were able to take that mentality and put it into production. Okay, they wouldn't have to wait all night for new Jordans. If they wanted new Jordans, they could order them, or they could pay whatever the price was. Okay, I mean, consumer behavior, that consumer mentality is a short stop to working a job you hate, living paycheck to paycheck, being unsatisfied, and mortgaging your future for the things that you want today. It's mortgaging your future for today because you can't wait to get those things. You need them now. So you'll make yourself a slave for the rest of your life to get things today. Okay? If for people that have debt, I'm not talking about corporate debt, but if they have personal debt, they've leveraged themselves, enslaved themselves for those things today. Right? They've enslaved their future. Okay? That's short-term thinking. Consumer behavior is short-term thinking. All right? Producer behavior is long-term thinking. Producers want that long money and they have the patience to persist in getting it. Producers know that to keep getting that money, you need to keep producing more than you consume. No ifs, ands, or maybes. You need to produce more than you consume. Always. Always. If you can't keep producing more than you consume, you're going to lose what you have. Even if you've built up a lot, you're going to lose what you have eventually. Okay? There is no neutral in the game of life that we're playing. You're going up or you're going down. So you need to be constantly producing, and you need to constantly be consuming a lot less than you're producing. The average person has $5,000 in savings, or less than that because they're leveraged to the hilt in debt. They're paycheck to paycheck. They wouldn't be able to survive an emergency without borrowing money off someone or asking their parents for money. This is the direct result of that short-term thinking and not willing to make those sacrifices. There is no neutral in the game of life, and you need to produce more than you consume. That's why most lottery winners and most athletes and a lot of musicians go broke after those big paydays start coming in, because they're still consumers. So they're making 40 mil and they're spending 45 mil. They're spending the money as fast as it can come in, and they're spending more than they have because now they're able to get credit. Right? They're able to go to the banks and get credit, and put themselves in debt and go broke. Like, you can do the research on football players. So many of those guys go broke after making tons of money. Okay, it's like the universe does a quick accounting check and they notice some regularities, and the universe just promptly takes that money back. Right? They're like, oh no, wait, look, a consumer somehow got a bunch of money. Well, let's just take that back. Right? And the guy with the consumer mentality, he breaks his neck giving that money back to producers. He can't spend it fast enough. Those lottery winners or those athletes, they can't spend it fast enough giving that money back to producers. Okay? The reality is consumers outnumber producers 99-1. I would say 1 out of every 100 guys is a producer. Okay? So the good news is there's always going to be a market for the few brave reality creators and producers in our marketplace of ideas, because you're rare. When you're a producer, you're rare. All right. Most people want things right now. They don't want to produce. They want the new apps from Google, and they want the new smartphone, and they want the new this or that, and they want it right now. So they'll go into debt for it. Right. When you're willing to get on the other side of that equation, on the other side of that coin, you become valuable, because you're able to give people what they want. And in turn, with patience, you're able to get what you want. The key to putting yourself into the productive class is solving problems for the consumer class. Okay? Steve Jobs solved a problem most people didn't even know they had, and he did so on a massive scale. And I am speaking to you on his product right now. I'm speaking to you on the end result of that product. His reward was influence, money, a legacy that lives beyond his death, and his jersey is forever hanging in that pantheon of greatness, because he was able to become a producer and he was able to solve problems so well and solve problems that people didn't even know they had, and do it on such a massive scale with such dedication. Okay, you can read his biography and see the level of detail he had. I mean, he would call his app developers on Sunday morning because the font or the color didn't look right on one particular app. That was the kind of dedication that he had to production, right? The end result was all that greatness, but it came from that dedication and from that production mentality of wanting to be the best and wanting to produce the best quality products.